Okay, so in the second or third 9 weeks, this year's really gone by, isn't it? You have to have your mask on, Aiden, at all times. Right. You can drink water, but then you have to put it back up. So Kayla, mask all the way up. All right. So in the third 9 weeks, we're doing narrative writing. As I was just saying, there's different things they can ask you to do. They can ask you to rewrite the story, like from a different person's point of view. They can ask you to add yourself into the story. They can ask you to add another chapter to the story, change the setting, or combine two stories by doing something. So we're going to be doing all these types of things. So we need to add to the rubric that you're already doing, the writing rubric I already gave you. In my homeroom, you're on a yellow piece of paper. Aiden, what did y'all have the rubric on?
We had it on, it was like something that she wrote on Google Docs.
Okay, so in Miss Bridges' class, it's on Google Docs. All right, so you're going to need to add these things to the narrative writing. You're going to need to, in your introduction, you're going to need to start by saying the setting. The setting we already said was where the story is taking place. You're going to have to start by introducing characters, not saying, Layla is in Miss Bridges' class, but, I am going on, or, you can say that. I am getting ready to go on a fishing trip with my son Drake and my daughter Brittany. Okay, so I introduce the characters by saying where we're going. And where's the setting? Fishing. Okay, that might not be, but you know that we're going fishing. Okay, you can do it like that. I could have said we're going fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, very good. All right, that would have been more precise, more vivid language. You exactly know where I'm going. You have to include dialogue. What is dialogue? What is dialogue, Miles?
Dialogue is just people talking. It's like talking. Just it.
Right. So dialogue is when characters speak. So are you going to have your whole paper in quotation marks? Because dialogue has to have quotation marks around it. So if I said, for instance, Drake said, I would put in quote, yes, I love to fish. Okay, what's that called?
Exclamation.
Exclamation, but what's it called when one word has punctuation? And there it is. What is it? Interjection. Remember, we talked about that. All right. So I don't want to say Drake said, Brittany said. You don't want to have quotes throughout. You want to be telling a story because that would be redundant. What does redundant mean? What's redundant mean? Sadie.
Repeated.
I can't hear what.
Boring
Kind of boring. Like it's just. Drake said, Brittany said, I said, Drake said, Brittany said, I said. That's boring. Okay? You want to tell a story, like an interesting story that's interesting for others to read. But you do have to include at least one thing that a character says. That's dialogue. All right. You still have to include all the other stuff. Transition words. Those must be in there. First, after I said, I'm taking my daughter, Brittany, and my son, Drake, fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. First, we had to get all our fishing gear set up. Next, we loaded the boat and the truck with fishing poles, bait, lunch, drinks. What else do you need when you go fishing?
A fishing pole.
Fishing pole,
Life jacket.
a net, life jacket. So you're gonna. So I'm gonna say first, next, all those same transition words. By the way, you can use phrases. Okay. Yes.
Why would you need a life jacket?
On a
To
boat,
stay
yeah,
safe.
safety.
Yeah, but like I thought you
Okay.
said you were just fishing.
Also,
Still.
you would have to have a problem and a solution. So, I could say something about while I was fishing with Drake and Brittany on our boat,
Someone got pulled in by a big fish.
I could say something about Drake caught a catfish and Brittany tried to take it off the hook and got the catfish stuck in. Which that wouldn't happen because Drake fishes enough, he wouldn't let that happen. But that could happen. That's a problem and a solution. It's not going to be in one sentence. You're going to have build up talking about what the problem is. Okay? And you also have to have a climax. What's the climax mean?
The peak, the best.
Right. Like the peak. All right. So when we just read the Watsons go to Birmingham, what was the problem? What was the whole problem?
Byron kept on misbehaving.
Right. Byron kept on misbehaving. Okay. So, and it built up to what was like the climax?
When the church exploded.
Well, the church exploded. Yes.
That was like when he went to the grandma.
When they told him that he was going to the grandmother's house.
Oh.
Okay. And then while they were at the grandmother's house, what happened to Byron's attitude and his whole everything?
It changed completely.
He totally changed. Okay. So the problem was solved. We had a solution. So it's not going to happen in one sentence. And I can't say your story needs to be 10 sentences. Okay? It needs to be however long it takes you to do all of these things. Plus, use a variety of sentences. Use a lot of vivid language. Make it interesting to read. Yes, JJ.
I still don't really
Understand.
understand.
Okay, so in the Watsons go to Birmingham. The problem was Byron. So he kept doing this and he kept doing that, kept doing all the stuff until the parents said, "That's enough. We're taking you to your grandmother's." And then once they got to the grandmother's, Byron kind of started behaving. Then at the grandmother's, they had even a bigger climax that the bombing of the church. And then the solution was they all came back home. Why did they bring Byron back home?
Because
He was
acting
acting
better.
a lot.
He was acting a lot better.
Saved
That's
his
the
brother
solution.
from the-
So the climax is like the most important thing to highlight the excitement of the story. Okay?
Byron said it was a turtle.
What?
It was a wolf.
Yeah.
Turtle mouth.
Okay. So these things need to be added in on top of all the things that we already talked about that's on that yellow piece of paper that you have. Okay? Or if you're in Miss Bridges' class, it's on Google Docs, the writing rubric. So all those things that you've already been doing in writing is to be included, but you have to add the stuff to it. Okay? Transition words you already had in there. But everything else is something new. Any questions about any of this stuff up here? Okay.